What's up, y'all? So anyway, I feel fucking great today. So, let's talk about something here. Are Christians being punished for their past life actions? Now, you know how I feel about past life karma and stuff like that. I used to kind of be like, really against it. But when I started digging more into the psychological depths of the mind, and how you might think, I think, other people think, and it's like death. You don't have to read the Zohar, you don't have to read Kabbalah, you don't have to read the Bible, you don't have to read an occult book to have a basic understanding of the afterlife. This is logic here. And the thing is, when I look at the United States, like in what Helena Blavatsky talked about, in America, eventually making way for the coming of, I think she said, like, what was it, the fifth or sixth root race? And there's a seventh, I think she said too. I'm still looking into her works. But very fascinating, some of the stuff that she talked about and mapped out. When I see, for example, how other countries, the church is fucking greedy whatsoever. People make it by just fine, They're not complaining. They're not starving. In fact, they could care less about food probably than Americans. Americans are over gluttonous when it comes to food in large portion sizes. Well, there's nothing, necessarily wrong with that, because Americans, it's transmutation. We're just basically adapting to basically our culture and environment. But you do have these people that take it overboard, let's get into the real subject in a second, like people that are really addicted to food and overweight, diabetes, and shit like that. And now, whole thing about Christians being punished for their, past lives and stuff like that, not actually making it to heaven, because death is a mind state, and these people, they wanted to live, so therefore the council of gods decided, well, you might have believed in Jesus. You want to live, you want to go to your Gregor heaven, but we're going to teach you what real spirituality is. And the thing is that some of these Christians have been such ignorant, stupid people in their past lives that now, when you tell them to open up their Bible, it takes them over 30 seconds to get to the last chapter of the fucking Bible. And it's like, it takes me 3 seconds in occultus to pull up the fucking Revelations. Maybe a little longer, but you get my point. About maybe 4 or 5 seconds at most. It's not that fucking hard to pull up Revelations and then get to 2:23. Oh, Jesus is white. Then what does Revelations 2:23 mean? Isn't he targeting a church of Jezebel, which is the church of white people? Yeah, okay. So when you see Christian charity work and stuff like that, Florida coral reefs, and it's just being a fascinating, place. The lightning capital of the world, too. You know, because I'm sure not all states are as generous. But think of it like this. Christians in the United States, they're forced to pay whatsoever us for fucking free and give us what we want for free. We take kosher chicken, we take goy chicken, we take their resources because they're giving it for free. And you don't think that Hecate or the Council of Gods, the Watchers Beyond the Lawless Waste, is punishing these Christians when they can't even flip through their own scriptures in under 30 seconds to the last fucking chapter? To me, that sounds like the gods, the goddesses, have cursed them with retardation. And, you know, you get these people out here that say, oh, this person's autistic, this person's Asperger's. And you know, you get, for example, rabbis, for example, that say that the reason why someone may be like autistic or they have Down syndrome is because, you know, they gossip, blah, 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 about whatsoever. But, you know, the guy, you know, obviously has, you know, Asperger's himself. So therefore, you know, his condition. Not saying anything wrong with that, but you see where I'm coming from. Christians are being punished whatsoever. And you know, when you look at whatsoever, because you'll say that there's a conspiracy to convert, say like the Sub-Saharans, the Asians, the Indians, some of the Middle Eastern people. Well, they've been Christian, some of these Middle Eastern people actually. To keep the freaking South Americans, you know, Catholic or Christian. Well, look at the Atlantean fall and what, you know, Helena Blavatsky talks about. You see, like in Nigeria, okay, Ifa and their voodoo communities, which were huge for a long time, were shrinking and stuff like that. And you say it's a conspiracy to convert them. No, it's because they made fucking white people the enemy. You mean, look at Revelations 2:23. They can't even pop open their Bible to that book. This is proof of basically them being reincarnated, not going to heaven, and cursed with uncertainty, prophetic fatigue, and retardation. And it's like, okay, like, look at Revelation 2:23. It targets a church of white people. The voodoo people been trying to curse the white people for years. And now more and more of them are not practicing their voodoo. And as, you know, you get European descended folk, Aryans, whites, you know, not uniting because of Christian differences and stuff. Well, when you look at the stuff that they're saying, it's completely retarded. Christianity is being discriminated against all over the world. They're trying to get rid of Christian in every country. That's a very few group of people. That's people like me. People that are cursing you for your stupidity. It's like, okay, for example, when I see like people in Ireland, you know, starting to become nationalists, have they read anything about the Tuatha Danann, the King's, you know, cycle, the Ulster cycle, the Fenian cycles and shit like that? No. Why? Because a lot of them, you know, have been colonized and they're speaking fucking English. You know, like, if you look at Norse mythology, because Norse, you know, Old Norse is, like, closely, you know, similar to English in a lot of ways, or descended from it. Old English, and Old Norse, if I'm correct. These stories are definitely easier to understand than, say, like Irish mythology, because of, the categories of how hard, certain languages are as a native English speaker. So this is really, what it is. It's like, for example, when they use the Tower of Babel. What did E.A. Koetting say years ago about Tower of Babel? This, because realistically, you cannot build something up into the skies whatsoever without suffocating, you get high up enough. It's a symbol that basically the Christian religion, under the followers of Abraham, they don't want you to be enlightened. They don't want you to have magic power. They don't want you to have these things. So therefore, what's happening to them? Because you can't get rid of history, you can't get rid of the Finian cycle, you can't get rid of the Ulster cycle, you can't get rid of Greek mythology. They are bound to keep these stories alive, whatsoever, or people that practice stuff in secret. I mean, look at the Masons. The Masons all had an understanding, a lot of these people, because they studied Latin, they studied medieval history, they studied their Bibles, and you see less and less Masons now. This is a proof, what I'm trying to say, that past life karma is cursing the Christians severely. And until they bow to the fucking goddess whatsoever, the true one. I mean, look at Christian Gnosticism, or whatever. Even like, there was a group of Christians before it was like, taken out, that actually believed it was a pagan religion. Now, I don't believe Jesus exists, in the sense that, people have talked about him and stuff. He was obviously, his mother was being fucked by Joseph, and she wasn't a virgin. But, that is more crazy. What do you call it? That's more normal for people to believe in than Poseidon sticking his trident into the fucking, core of the earth and causing an earthquake, or for shit to sprout. Blood makes the grass grow. Is more crazy or less normal to Christians than their so-called biology of virgin birth. And you can say, well, I misinterpret it. Yes, Joseph is probably the father whatsoever. But then what about all the people that are so convinced that it was a virgin birth? Go savor the Virgin Mary's pessary in that fucking whore. Fuck Christianity and fuck Abrahamic religions. They're all cursed, and they're bound to pay us resources for free.